Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Tea with the Druid. I'm Philip Carr-Gomm. Tea with the Druid is brought to you by the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. It's lovely to have you here. And it's the beginning of a new year, January 2023. And I have a friend, a guest here, Peter Owen Jones, who lives down the road in Firle, a beautiful little village. And I'll be talking, we will be having a conversation a little bit together. But in the meanwhile, I want to know about you. How are you doing? Let me press a little button where I can see your comments. And everybody's piling into the clearing in the forest, northeastern Minnesota, Portugal, London, Bedfordshire, Montreal. How lovely to see you. Happy 2023, says Sai. Yes, indeed. Happy 2023. And Nova Scotia, Wisconsin, Baton Rouge. Yes, Ontario and Canada. Rainy Tucson, Scotland, Cork in Ireland, fantastic. Denmark, great, lovely to see you. So good to see you. Well, just like in a real physical meeting where people gather together in a circle, and it always takes a while. And because Druids and people interested in Druidry and nature spirituality are by nature often very relaxed, it takes them a while to gather. So over the coming minutes, more and more people will gather, and you're all very welcome. It's great to see you. And I don't know about you, but I'm having that familiar feeling of having unwound over the holiday period. There's a part of me that's kind of reluctant to wind myself back up to start working again in the new year. I noticed that really strongly today, whereas technically, well, I suppose it was a bank holiday today, wasn't it, Peter? So we were sort of supposed not to work.
We were supposed not to work.
Yes. Did you do any work?
No.
No, I didn't either. And I couldn't. I tried. I did 2 emails. I wrote 2 emails.
Oh, no, I wrote some.
Yeah. But what I'd love for you to do is, if you feel like it, just tune in for a second. And just check in, and then just let a word pop up for how you're feeling in this moment. It doesn't have to be how you felt all day or how you're going to feel for the rest of your life. It's just in this particular moment right now, how you're feeling. It's a lovely way for us here to get a feeling of being connected with everybody here. So, yeah, Zana is saying, ready to wind up. Not ready to be wound up. Maybe that's a lovely distinction we can make. We won't be wound up anymore. We'll just wind ourselves up occasionally like a clockwork toy. Stressed, unfortunately, Raven. I'm sorry to hear that. Very reluctant to upwind. Yes, that's a great new word. Upwinding and downsizing. Unmotivated, frazzled, free, unsettled by the thought of a new year, feeling relaxed. Still reading from Brother's Desk and many others fairly recently. I'm so sorry to hear that, Liz, but with hopes and warmth for the good. Great. Too soon for spring. Calm. Refreshed after walking the dog on the seafront. Yes, I was down by the sea in Brighton today, and it was glorious, actually. It was sunny and lovely. Activated, relaxed. Baileys, says Hannah. Yes, a bit drained. Still resting into this liminal space, says Anna. That's exactly how it's felt, very much so this time, this liminal space, particularly because we had a quieter Christmas here. And so this sense of a sort of liminal space of having wound down some work. And for me, it coincided beautifully with finishing a book. And then I've got another one to start.
Does that work?
It's not work, really. No, I love it. I love it. I love it. So it's sort of partly work, but it's not work. Frozen toes. Pat, you've got to warm those toes up. Hungry, darn it. Okay, fantastic. Well, I know normally we kind of chat before doing a meditation, and then I finish the session with a meditation, but I thought a lovely way to kind of start the new year would be to start with a meditation. And there's a way in which beginnings, there's a way in which when you get into this kind of spiritual life, or whatever we want to call it, there's a way in which more and more I find that beginnings work well if we kind of tune in first sort of set the intention to sort of slow down, open up, and all those sorts of things. So what I'd like to do is suggest that we have a meditation. And if you're new to Tea with the Druid, don't feel you have to do this. You can just sit and watch and just listen. But if you want to, do please join in. And what I'm going to do is, in the heart of the meditation, I'm going to read a piece of text. The oak speaks of sanctuary. And then Peter is going to read a second piece of text. The moss speaks of intimacy. Okay. And then I'll lead you out of the meditation, and then we'll talk. Okay. So in our usual way, if you feel open to the invitation, you might like to lower your gaze or close your eyes to better concentrate on yourself. And to begin with, just become aware of being seated in front of your screen or phone or tablet, fully present, aware of where you are. But then, if it's okay, just starting to relax that sense of being present to the computer or the screen, to become aware of the other world, to become aware that you're coming into, or possibly already arrived in, a sacred clearing in the forest, the place that's beloved of the Druids, the sacred grove, which is a place between worlds that's connected to this world, the good earth beneath us, trees around us, and the sky above us. But that is also a gateway, in a way, to another realm. And so find a place that feels comfortable in this forest clearing. And then, seated on the ground or on a log or stone, just begin to tune into the earth beneath you. You feel the solidity and stability of the earth beneath you. And as you become aware of the earth, become aware of all the life in this earth, all the millions of creatures, the worms and the insects, all the living organisms in the soil beneath you. All part of the great web of life. And then the mycelium, that wonderful body that connects all the trees together, and the fungi, and the rocks and the stones, the sand and the soil, and the moisture. Then coming up in your awareness now to the surface of the earth, the grass and the mosses, bare soil and the stones. And you might like to imagine that in the center of our circle, there's a small fire burning to keep us warm. And that a number of us have gathered here, those of like mind and like heart, who've gathered together in this circle this evening. And we're seated around this circle with a fire in the center. Then you become aware of the trees around you, and you feel how they're rooted deep in the soil, at one with the creatures in the earth and the soil too. Their strong trunks stretching upwards, and their branches, and perhaps some of them are evergreens, perhaps some of them are deciduous and their leaves have fallen. And you breathe in the strength and the protection of these trees. And then you become aware of the sky above you. And you breathe in the clarity and the energy of the sky. And with every breath in, you can feel the energy of the sky flowing into you, meeting the energy of the earth within the center of your being. And you just become aware of being seated in this sacred grove, closing your inner eyes so you can tune in to your own being, and the way in which it connects with all the other beings and all the life in the circle. Just breathing in and breathing out. And you sense how this place is a sanctuary. You're seated in a sanctuary in nature, offering peace, solace, connection. And the oak speaks of sanctuary. The giving of sanctuary is written into the code of life. Planet Earth is a sanctuary, a life world in the midst of space. The stone gives sanctuary to the moss. The soil gives sanctuary to the seed. The river gives sanctuary to the reed. Silence gives sanctuary to sound. You share this sanctuary with all life, with every grove, with every reef, with every moor and breath. A human being is called consciously to uphold and nurture the reality of sanctuary, to make it known, to bring it to life. I will wait for you in the dance of leaves, there in the shadows among the light on the path. This is a door. I cannot offer you certainty because there is none. I can celebrate the warmth of the air of each breath as it leaves my body. This is intimacy. I can tell you that there in the midst of the storm stands a tree, and that at the base of the trunk is an opening within the roots just wide enough for you to enter. And within there is a soft earth floor, the scent of pine. In here you are warm and dry. To find the tree, enter the storm. The crows that arrive at my window, the bears at my door, they have not come to harm me. They have come to show me the way, to lead me to sanctuary. It is important for me to understand that I summoned them. They are not here of their own volition. They heard my loudening heartbeat, followed the scent of tears, watched as heartbreak broke me, saw me lost, drawing ever closer to the edge of life, farther and farther out into the land of stones, where the voices of the ones I love grow fainter and fainter. I am here at the edge of life to learn to build a shelter. That is what the stones are for. To build a strong tower, a stairway leading up to the one room with the bed and the blue sky window just above it. Glass doors open onto a terrace with flowers. The crows have become swallows, and wolves dancers on the street below. I will not find sanctuary in love. I may find a shelter in the arms of the one I love, but this is not sanctuary. This is a place of prayer. It is the active life, the active state of communion. I cannot expect sanctuary in the realms of another's heart. Sanctuary is within. Find the room within.
The moss speaks of intimacy. Intimacy is the vessel, the first language of every life world. It is intimacy that holds life in being. Your life, my life, every stem, every seed, every fin, every hair, every song. Intimacy is the child of devotion. The land embraces the lake. The soil is devoted to the seed. The sapling devoted to the star. The moss devoted to rain. The sea embraces the urchin, the shark, the glistening fish. The sand embraces the dead and broken shells. This is communion. The cells of my body are intimate with each other, as are yours. The leaf is intimate with the root. The moon is intimate with the tide. Your heart is intimate with your hands. Look at how close the blackbird must be to the night to begin the morning song. Intimacy is the first calling you feel, calling you to suckle, to stand, to walk over the hill, to draw you into the light, to hear the leaves praising the rain, the waves praising the shore. I cannot know the rose by reason, the goby by marking her stones, the barley by weight. Without intimacy, I am alone to this earth. I deny the bark, deny the rocks, deny the very rain and the dunnocks their nest. Look at how the rose opens completely. When you withhold your heart, it withers. Then you are blind to the sorrow of the sickening fields, the darkening of the woods. You have chosen the land of stones. Come, lie down on my bed, made in the quiet canyons. I have laid a rug on the banks in the summering woods, and there in the folds of Cadair Idris and Son Shan. Bring your wounds and the scars that lie hidden in your earth. Let the ferns hold you. The vines enter your skin until you hear the bees praising the daisies, and the rivers praising the reeds, the night stars praising your name. And when in time your heart breaks open, you will feel the jackdaws and the trees speaking. You will feel the depth of moss, the chalice of rain, and know the muscovy and the fox as yourself, and the jewel you have become.
Sensing that jewel in your heart, you become aware now of all these other hearts shining. All of us seated around in a circle around the fire. And it's as if we can sense the heart of each one of us shining like a jewel in the light. And I'll finish with a prayer that we use sometimes in Druid ceremonies, which goes, "We swear by peace and love to stand, heart to heart and hand in hand. Mark, O Spirit, and hear us now, confirming this, our sacred vow." And you might want to just touch your heart with your hand. And then you can imagine touching the earth with the palms of your hands. May the earth be blessed. May all lives be blessed. May there be peace on earth. May the coming year unfold for us in the best possible way. And then gradually allow your sense of the sacred grove to begin to fade, knowing that you can return in meditation whenever you wish to this place. But for now, allowing your sense of the clearing in the forest to gently fade as you become more and more aware of being seated in front of your screen, fully present, here and now. And when you feel ready, you open your eyes. So, thank you so much. The two readings that that we gave in that meditation are from a book called Conversations with Nature by Peter Owen Jones, who happens to be this fellow sitting next to me here. And it's a truly inspiring book. And I wanted to, it came out in November, didn't it? Or towards the end of the year last year.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
How did you write this book?
I think I started writing this book when I was probably 6 months old, and it's been just gestating, and then it was time. I'm 65 now, and it was time for it to be born, and it kind of let me know that it wanted to be born.
Because of course the interesting question is, who wrote it?
Yeah. I think I can only answer that by saying the swallow wrote it, the fern wrote it, the soil wrote it, the oak wrote it, the heron wrote it. I think that's the truth of it.
Well, over the Christmas holiday period, I read a book called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote the book Eat, Pray, Love.
Yes.
And she's a novelist, and she's had a number of novels published. And she essentially talks about this central idea that we have in Druidry, which is the idea of Owen, the idea of the inspiration from the gods, the blessings of the divine as it flowing through us. And it's a really good book, actually, and it's this extraordinary phenomenon that we know as writers that and of course I guess we're coloring the words with our education and our particular vocabularies and experiences and so on, but when we're lucky, it definitely feels like it's coming from somewhere else.
Yeah, your hand is kind of almost moving involuntarily.
Yeah,
when you have to. I think someone said to me, as a writer, you have to slay the dragons at the door.
Yeah. What does that mean?
That means that you can't tidy your desk or go and make a cup of tea or make that phone call that's been on your mind for the last 5 minutes. You've got to
just go for it.
Yeah.
I remember renting a cottage in near Firle, actually, just down the road from you, because I got a really good book contract. And I blocked off the time, and I thought, well, this is fantastic. I'll take the train one stop to Glynde, walk out of Glynde, walk down to Milton Street or whatever it was, go to that, and then I'll begin with a meditation.
Fatal.
Yeah. Well, it was so interesting because the very first day one meditation. So I tuned in, I'm going to write this way every day. I'll give myself and this immediate sense was, just get on with it. You're right. The writing is the work. You don't have to, just open up and then get cracking. And
I think someone once said to me that it was like, when I am writing, it was like living with a man who had a bucket on his head. Because you're kind of, I think it's got to take you over. You have to surrender to it. You can't impose yourself upon it.
No,
you have to take the journey.
Yes. And it's hard for partners or people you're in relationship
It
with.
is.
You know,
Yeah.
Steph, I pay great tribute to Steph, who's put up with me working on all these books over
How many books has she bought? Has she endured?
20, I think. This last one is 20. And it's a bit vulgar, isn't it? It's a bit too many, I think. Let's see. Fanny is saying here, let's just click on that so we can. Fanny is saying, I'm not a writer, but that's how I am with art. It's like I set myself up with so many prerequisites prior to starting that I never begin. I know this is just my fear keeping me from moving forward. Yeah, like Peter says, you just have to plow in. Once Pamela, when my book came through me, I was attempting to get it all down. I was sweating. Yes, it's tough. Did you write this book? Where did you write it? Did you write it in your house, or because I know you often go up to the highest point above the village, Firle Beacon?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wrote it in various places because it's very difficult for me to have a structured life because things come in at me. So I would kind of shut the door when I could, or I would walk out of the house when I could. But it has taken a long time. I know that it's terribly thin.
A slim tone. It is. That's right.
but no, it's it's
well,
it's a work of love.
Yeah, no, that shines through, I think. And just to explain, Peter is a Church of England. Do you call yourself a vicar or a priest?
I'm happy with whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And Peter's done a number. We first got to know Peter through his TV series, Extreme Pilgrim, around the world in 89 faiths. Yeah, and so on, and other, the great TV series. And then met you sort of socially because you were down the road, and we became friends and so on. And of course, the life of a priest is one where you're on call, basically, all the time. People are, unfortunately, all sorts of unfortunate and also lovely things like weddings and all the rest of it happen. But you're basically on call. It's a life of service, and the writer longs for stretches of time where you're completely undisturbed.
Yes, but I don't know. I think the being disturbed is just as important as being undisturbed.
Well, that's an interesting point, because I've found in writing too is that the cooking, the simmering of the pot, sometimes for years,
absolutely,
is part of the process. Because when I get an idea for a book, I would like to execute it immediately. I'll sort of wake up in the morning, I have an idea. Wouldn't it be great to write a book about and I'd like to just basically to go straight to the computer and just write it, just block off, the time and just write it and then move on, But what happens is it takes years, and most of my books have taken years. I mean, 5 years, 10 years, 3 years,
No, I think I'm the same. I kind of, have this kind of bolt of inspiration, but I'm kind of quite suspicious of that, and I let things settle, and then the things that flourish within that kind of fallow field, then I will explore.
Yes. And having said that, I'll tell you one piece. I'm just going to check the comments here. Bits of paper become scribbled notes, then the magic begins when we reassemble them into legible documents. Yes, Sandy, indeed.
That's how David Bowie wrote his lyrics.
Oh, really? On scraps of paper?
Yeah, and then he kind of put them all together.
Yeah. Oh, right. Oh, great. Yeah. Well, the one idea, the idea that I don't know if you've ever got caught in this thing. It's where you're sort of going off to sleep and you have an idea, and you think that's so good, I'll remember it in the morning,
and you never do,
and you don't. so or at least I don't now. So
I think that's rather lovely. I mean, how also songwriters will kind of wake up at 2 and think, oh, I've got the melody that goes with the lyric, and it's wonderful. And they'll say, well, now that I've got it, I can go to sleep. Of course, how many songs
I know are unsung because of that.
Absolutely. But I find that rather lovely.
Yes. But what I do is I force myself to get up.
Do you?
Yeah, and I come in here and I write it down on a piece of paper
Yeah.
because
Otherwise.
yeah, and yeah. So, well, I can heartily recommend Peter's book, and it's pocket sized. It's the sort of thing you can slip into your pocket, and just to read one. There are sections like that, just 2 pages.
Yeah.
They're just, I find them really inspiring and very moving. So thank you, Peter, for coming. These tea with the Druids, they always feel like they could go on forever, but they probably could.
They could.
They could. But I've learned that to keep them short and sweet.
Okay.
And but you must come back and we'll have a longer conversation about.
I would very much enjoy that.
About writing, about creativity. And also about spirituality, this mysterious thing that we're both interested in, and that we've come at from slightly different angles, and yet we share so many things in common.
I would love to do that.
Great.
Very much.
Great.
Thank you, Philip.
Pleasure. Well, thank you all for being here, and for where can we get a copy from? Well, if you just, thanks to the one, if you're watching this means you're on the internet, which means you can type this in: Conversations with Nature, Peter Owen Jones, and Elizabeth wants more of this man. Great. Yes, I'll do a longer interview with Peter. So yes, sending messages. Yes, I send messages to myself, the emails or voicemail notes to myself and all the rest of it. Yes. Well, thank you all for being with us, and do by all means keep writing comments, because you can keep doing that and we can see them. Peter and I will now go and have a cup of tea and come and read your comments, and have a lovely week.
Indeed.
And many blessings and good wishes for the year to come.
Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. And see you next week. Okay, bye.